Hey, hello. Let you guys all jump in. That's if Facebook's still putting me in your feed. While we build the audience, we got 7 people. We've got 24 people. 57. We're crawling. I see the hearts and the likes. Heart and like you back. 372, 724. Come on, Facebook, you can do it. There we go. We have 1,000. All right, so we're going to talk today about Trump's new cabinet picks. Very exciting. I'm going to tell you what it means both on the surface and what it means deep down and the message that's being sent. Also going to talk to you about some of this stuff that just maybe makes you scratch your head about Mitt Romney going to visit with Trump and the fact that he met with Cruz, and what does that all mean? Plus, I'm going to give you a story that's going to blow your mind about liberal Hollywood and how it actually works, and something that I learned firsthand, and how it is that all controls the narrative too. Because believe it or not, we say the word media. Media is somewhat different than press, right? Press is the news, but media also includes Hollywood, and Hollywood drives a lot of the narrative that youngsters get. So I'm going to be talking to you about that because, as I told you the other day, I have a gentleman named Jerry who is writing a book to help us launch this new media platform, and it's all going to be about the sort of experiences you never hear about on television, things that I have lived through that shows you how dirty and dishonest the press and the media are, and how it's affecting America, and how it is that this new media platform that I'm launching with you and your help is going to make news honest again. So today we got Mrs. Lynch. She's back. Give a wave. There she is. Feeling much better today. I suspect that our crowd here on Facebook will be lower. Typically, we have anywhere between 9,000 to 11,000 people watching the walk and talk. I suspect today, if we get to 6,000, we're lucky. And that is because Facebook has, over the last couple of days, changed algorithms again. That's from what I can tell. We're seeing it on our website. We're seeing it on our Facebook live and walk and talk lives. I'm getting the messages from you that I'm no longer in your feed, that I'm no longer in your notifications, even though you have clicked those things numerous times. And when I get one person sending me the email, then I know maybe it's just an anomaly. But if I get 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 people sending me the emails, then I know that there's a change over at Facebook. Is it a permanent change? Who knows? Is it something just directly towards me? No, it's not. You could always tell when Facebook does their algorithm changes. Even our traffic on our website, it's literally in half over the last 2 days, and we've done nothing different. So, real quick thing before we jump into Trump, just to let you know, our fundraising efforts continue to be strong, although it is slowing down a bit. I think some of it has to do with the whole Facebook thing that I talked to you about. Can't have it slow down. If it slows down, this all crumbles. Right now, we're at $173,000. I thank the 4,000 of you who have participated. But like I said, we got to get to that 250. So my new goal is to hope to get to 200 by Sunday evening, and then the week of Thanksgiving, I think we'll pick up the other 50, and then we start rocking and rolling. And by January 20th, which, by the way, I will be broadcasting live from the inauguration down in DC. If you guys want to come down there and meet me, I'd be more than happy to meet you. We'll talk about that more as we get closer to it. But anyway, let's get into the exciting stuff here about Mr. President-elect Donald Trump and the people he selected. Okay, so first and foremost, you should be tickled pink. Tickled pink. Any fear that you had that Donald Trump would not carry out the promises he made on the campaign trail, I think as of right now, knock on wood, you have nothing to worry about. The fact that he put Senator Jeff Sessions in as Attorney General is fantastic. There are few people, if any, who are more conservative than Jeff Sessions. But when you take all the topics that he is conservative over, which is basically about everything, there is no topic that he has more passion for than the immigration issue. So a lot of what takes place down at our border and throughout the 50 states with regard to immigration, illegal immigration, is all driven by the fact that we're not enforcing our laws. If you were to enforce our laws, most of this problem would go away. And so by him putting Jeff Sessions as the Attorney General, that sends a huge, huge message that says we're going back to the rule of law. I couldn't be more happy about his placement there and his acceptance of that role. He has to be approved by the Senate. I have no doubt whatsoever he will get approval. Now, next, we have we have a crowd here today at the church. No church bells. I think I'm too early. Anyway, now we go over to Mike Flynn. General, come on, keep up, hon. Lieutenant General Mike Flynn is, he's going to stir a lot of controversy because, spoke too soon. General Flynn is going to draw a lot of controversy, and you're going to hear it over the next couple of days. And the reason being is because he's tweeted out at times that it is okay to have a fear of Muslims, and he's made some pretty harsh comments against the Obama administration when it comes to Islamic terrorism. Do I have a problem with one of his comments or any of his comments about Islamic terrorism? Absolutely not. Should you? Absolutely not. But there will be pushback from the left. It doesn't matter, because his appointment to the National Security Advisor does not require Senate approval. So he's in. He's in, and case closed. Now, why should you be happy about this? Mike Flynn believes that Islamic extremism and Islamic terror is probably, if not the biggest problem facing America, okay? I say probably because there are other problems we have as well, with China tapping into our digital systems every single day. Same thing with Russia and Iran. China and Russia continue to expand their military and their force, their capabilities. So there are a lot of big problems. And ultimately, China is a more dangerous foe than ISIS. But nonetheless, when you have somebody like Mike Flynn, who is not afraid to say Islamic terrorism, and who, by the way, was a registered Democrat and still attacked Obama, the Obama administration, and the Pentagon with fire, this guy did. You know his passion and his desire to protect America is great. So by him picking those two people, not only should you feel safer, not only should you feel great about the vote that you cast for Donald Trump, if you already don't feel great about it already, but it sends a very clear message, not only through Washington, D.C. and through all 50 states, but around the world, that America is no longer playing games. The party is over. The days of lawlessness are over. The days of not being willing to address the enemy for who and what they are over. They are over. These two men are sensational. Now, let's move on to something that you may be scratching your head over. Many people are. That is the fact that Trump has invited Cruz to come meet with him. We know that's old news, right? That happened, a couple of days ago. Now, Mitt Romney is going to go to the White House. I believe it's scheduled for tomorrow to meet with Donald Trump. These are the two men who have said the most evilest things about Donald Trump. And so when you look at that and you say, what the hell's going on? Because Mitt Romney is actually being thought of being considered for Secretary of State, or perhaps in charge of the VA. I cannot emphasize how much this says about Donald J. Trump, not only as a human being, but more importantly, as a leader. Think about your own life. I like to always put our own lives into perspective when you look at these topics, because at the end of the day, it's all about people. Think about the people in your life who you've had issue with. Maybe you have issue with somebody now. Maybe you haven't talked to a relative or a friend in quite some time. It takes the bigger person to say, you know what? Let's just put this garbage behind us. Let's move forward. The person who can be the first one to do that, that's the bigger person. It's much harder to reach out to somebody and say, let's make amends, than it is to stay angry. Right, man? Mm-hmm. See? If Mary says yes, it means yes. Donald Trump has done the harder thing here. He has swallowed his pride. He has let bygones be bygones. And he is putting the well-being and the concerns of this country on the front burner. He is putting himself on the back burner. Now, let me tell you, I've said this to you before, for those of you who've been with me every day for a long time, for those of you who are new, and I know we have a lot of new people, my videos tend to go viral. 250,000 is a bad day. One of the most viral videos I've ever had, maybe the most viral, was a video in which I said Donald Trump has the greatest ego in the world. But don't let that turn you off. Let that work for you. Let it work for you in the sense that he is going to want to get everything accomplished and have his face up on Mount Rushmore. Now, what drove that is that in 2014, I was giving a tour, a speaking tour, and I would be asked constantly, who did I think would be the best president or the best nominee for the GOP? And I said the best president and the best GOP nominee would be Donald Trump. People laughed at me. And they laughed at me because they thought he was a clown. He thought he was a joke. I said, no, we need his sort of personality. We need his sort of sharp elbows and get it done persona to be in the White House. And they said, well, come on, you have to have some concerns over him. I said, I do. My biggest concern about Donald Trump is that he loves himself beyond reason. And you have to love America and the American people more than you love yourself in order to be an effective leader and to fix the problems that we now face. Donald Trump, as far as I'm concerned, has made the switch. I truly believe that his touring this country in running for president changed him. The day that he walked down the escalators like his you-know-what doesn't stink and said, I'm going to run for president, that was the beginning of the end of the old Donald Trump. The new Donald Trump, after meeting with the American people and seeing the problems in this country, realizes the fact of how much you and we need strong leadership, how much we need in order to get this country back on track. He is in love with you and the country more so than he is with himself. He is the sort of guy, I've heard this from many people, who if you cross him, he ain't gonna be able to make amends. He's actually said it himself. The fact that he's reaching out to these guys tells you that he understands that Mitt Romney and Ted Cruz, although they have their shortcomings like all of us, they still have their upsides. They still have their pluses for America. Mitt Romney is establishment. Mitt Romney has said things about Donald Trump which just made you want to never see his face again. But let's not forget that Mitt Romney is also a very successful businessman, and he has done many turnarounds, taking something that was bad and making it good. He's made a lot of money by making a lot of smart choices. He definitely adds value to the game. You strip out his establishment connections and you just take him as an individual. You know what? You put him in charge of the VA, that thing gets fixed. Do I have a problem with Mitt Romney going in and taking care of the veterans who protect our lives, who have protected our lives? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's why Donald Trump is so effective. That's why Donald Trump is a billionaire. He understands the art of the deal. He understands that you put your own personal feelings aside for this sort of thing and you meet with people. Now, I'm not saying that Ted Cruz or Mitt Romney will get any positions, but the fact that he's making amends with these people and he's bringing people together, remember, that is one of the problems we have. We have a divided country. We have a divided Washington, D.C. We have a divided base in the GOP. He is magically bringing that all together. He is Reaganizing this entire process. He is taking heart and brains and passion and rolling it up into making America great again. And he hasn't gotten to policy yet. He can't do policy yet because he's not in that power. So you add that fourth leg to the chair, the policy, it's inevitable. Is inevitable. You should be right now dancing on your coffee table at home. Man, how many times do I dance on the coffee table? You're too slow, man. You gotta walk a little faster, honey. Come on. No, your legs aren't tired. Come on. We just started. Anyway. All right, the messages are gonna come in. Be nicer to Mary. I'm very nice to Mary all the time. Okay, so anyway. So that's what I wanted to tell you about that there with these guys. I suspect that you are going to see more surprises. Now, do I think that you're going to see Hillary Clinton go into Trump Tower anytime soon for a discussion of a job? No. But don't be surprised if he does invite her. Don't be surprised if he does invite her. I'd be turned off by that. I think you would be too. Maybe a little bit, we may have to check that somebody's giving him too many Happy Meals. But at the end of the day, I think Trump understands that the only way to get America effectively moving in the right direction is to heal the wounds. And think about it in your own life. I've already brought this back. You've got your aunt, you got your uncle, you got your brother, you got your cousin, you got somebody who you're not talking to for the longest time. What happens? You all go to a family event, you're both in the room. Not only you uncomfortable, not only is she uncomfortable, but everybody else in the room is uncomfortable too. And so it makes it almost to the point you say, you get back in the car, I get back in the car with Mary and I say, I'm not coming here anymore. Why am I doing this? Why am I subjecting myself to this sort of thing? And so the celebration that we should have been having for, let's say, somebody's birthday gets entirely lost because all the focus is directed on the problems between the individuals in the room. He understands that he has to eliminate that. He understands that when people sit around the table, it has to be a good situation, a feel-good situation. So this way, all efforts, all energy, all focus is on the issue at hand, not on the personality conflicts. That is leadership. That is America. Okay. Now, for the sake of what will be the best book you ever read, let me tell you a story about how it is that Hollywood actually works. How does a film get to Hollywood? This is gonna blow your brains. You ready? Okay. When I made They Come to America 1, the cost of illegal immigration, I was, by and large, the first person to ever really cover the illegal immigration problem at the level and depth I did. Scary border stuff, cartel, ranchers along the border all telling me we've had nobody ever come do what you're doing here. Everybody comes down here, CBS, all these other different places, always focusing on why are we carrying guns, or films of that nature would always focus on the plight of the illegal immigrant. The torture they have to go through to get here for a better life. Okay, well, I took a different approach. My decision was I'm going to make a film that puts an American face on this problem. Whoa, what a mistake. First of all, on my way home, because I was driving, I was doing this whole thing, I drove through the country doing this, because you got to see the country on the ground in order to really understand it. I was driving home, I had just wrapped up. We had been chased by cartel in a desert in Phoenix. This is after being chased down along the border. But after we had done our border stuff, we went up to talk to a couple of sheriffs about drop houses, where they keep the illegal aliens until they get more ransom. But that's a different story. But anyway, this sheriff took us in Phoenix, which is hundreds of miles off the border, and he said, look, I'm going to take you to a place, you're going to see a sign, you're not going to believe what you see. It's all right. So we go to this sort of like dirt highway, if you will, that crosses through a park. And in the middle of the park, there's a sign that says, beware, illegal drug and human smuggling taking place. And I said, wait a second, if we know that this is taking place here every day, why aren't we putting cops here? ICE agents, FBI, why don't we do all that instead of putting signs that tell me to get out of American property? And he says, exactly, this is the problem. So when I filmed that, and these are things that I had never seen, you'd never see them on the news. You know, you might see them on one small little blog that really doesn't get a whole lot of traffic, but it never picked up major national attention. So when I was driving home, I told Miss Mary back there, I said, we have just made an Oscar level film. This is gonna win an Oscar. Now, something important. At that point, I wasn't political. I knew nothing about politics. I just totally jumped into this thing by chance. That's another story in of itself. And I was a brand new filmmaker. This was really the first political film I had ever made. It was only the second film I had ever made. And so what a silly boy I was. So they taught you in film school that in order to be able to get a film to Hollywood, there's a process. You have to go through the film festival circuit, all right? The film festivals is basically like the minor leagues for baseball, right? Before you get to the majors, you got to play in the minors. And you're just like a minor league baseball player will be seen by a scout who goes to games. Well, this is the same thing. You get into film festivals, that's screen number one. 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 films get sent in. Maybe a couple of hundred, if you're lucky, get selected. So the ones that get selected sort of went through the first screening. Then you got all the big distributors, they go to the film festivals, and then what they do is they pick out the ones that they think are gonna do really well. Well, I sent my film to 30 of the biggest, most popular film festivals, knowing that I would be approved by all 30, because there were no other films like the one I had, and it was produced, for those of you who have seen it, produced unbelievably. There was nothing about it that would say to somebody, don't give this. Well, would you know? We got turned down by all 30 film festivals. Now, there's another thing to take into consideration about film festivals. Film festivals will often give local filmmakers or films that are filmed in that particular area preference. They'll give them a chance. So in other words, I live on the east end of Long Island. There is the Hamptons International Film Festival out here. If I make a film, and it's not politically made, my first film, called King of the Hamptons, I never distributed it, but I sent it to the film festival here, and it got picked up. Why? Because it was about local living. It was about a local guy who was here for 50 years. I'm a local guy. So all those localisms put your film, and I had Christy Brinkley and Billy Joel and Ed Burns and all these other different people. And they'll put you into the festival, if for no other reason, just as a courtesy. But the Tribeca Film Festival, which takes place in New York City, where much of my film also took place because it had ties back to 9/11, and I'm a New York guy, I got turned down. I couldn't believe I got turned down. So I called Ed Burns, the actor. I know Ed Burns. I called him up. I said, Ed, I'm sending you this film. And Ed's a good guy. Ed's a Democrat. He's a liberal. He'd be the first one to tell you, but he's a good guy. And we're about the same age, and we had met, and he was in my first film, and he said, send me the film. So I sent him the film, and he watches it. He only watches it halfway through. Calls me up and says, your film's going nowhere. I said, wow, how can that be? I said, Ed, you see, with this thing is fantastic. He said, your film's going nowhere. He says, your film, exact words, is the sort of thing you'd see on Fox News. Now, I didn't watch Fox News at the time, so I'm like, what does that mean? He says, you know, you're center right. I said, no. I said, this is an unbiased film. This is the real truth of it. I'm putting an American face on it. He says, no, you don't understand. Film festivals in Hollywood are completely to the left. Completely to the left. Even if you have a film that sort of highlights something like you did, it's never going to get through. The only thing you can do is sell DVDs. This is what he says to me. So I say, you know what, I don't accept this. So I reach out to the Tribeca Film Festival, and I'm like, hey man, I'm a New York guy. This is a great film. I got people in this film that are fantastic. You got to give me a shot on this. I was told there was no room for my film. You ready? You know what they put in place of my film? Get ready for this. They put in a film called Manscaping. It's a film about why men shave their testicles and their buttocks. That is what they put instead of mine. Manscaping. So obviously, a film about national security, American workers, people getting killed by illegal aliens. And oh, by the way, in my film, I have illegal aliens who I actually, to a certain degree, befriend. I mean, there's one guy in the film who I actually, we start to love. He's such a nice guy. And ultimately, I realized the fact, I can't like this guy. I can't be friends with him. He can't stay here. He can't be around here. He's illegal. I had an INS agent tell me, Dennis, gangbangers, by day, these gangbangers are working construction jobs at night. They're selling drugs and gangbanging. This is a nice guy telling me this. So anyway, I mean, but these guys, I have illegals in the film basically saying, yes, we know we're stealing jobs from Americans and we feel bad about it, but we don't have to pay taxes. I mean, it is what?
I just gotta head home and not come back.
Heading home? What are you heading home for? Let's go to the bathroom. Miss Mary's gonna come back. So, man, I don't know where I'll be. You know, man, I'll just walk home. I'll just walk home. No, I'm good. No. All right. Loving my life. All right. Anyhow, so it turns out that they put this manscaping thing in there instead of putting mine in. And so it turns out that that's why those of you who have seen my films before, and don't go to buy them now. I'm going to be putting up a special thing in the weeks to come, especially for those of you who have donated to me. I have 5 total films. They're all phenomenal. Yeah, I'm going to go like this. They're phenomenal. For those of you who have seen me on Fox with them before, have seen them, I mean, they hit the topic like nobody else. And I'm going to be putting together a great Christmas package for you to help us build this new media platform. I'm basically going to be giving them away, so hold off. But anyway, so that's the way the bias Hollywood works. Now, you may come back and say, but wait a second, Dinesh D'Souza, you know, he's got his stuff in theaters. Yeah. In order for Dinesh D'Souza to get, and keep in mind, Dinesh D'Souza, who I've interviewed before and chatted with many times, he had, can't remember the guy's name, but the guy who was the producer of the film about the Holocaust, I can't remember what the hell it was called, but you know what it is, Schindler's List. He was hooked up with that guy, and even he couldn't get his film picked up by a major Hollywood producer. And I'm talking, by a distributor. And I'm talking about the Obama movie he made back before 2012. So what Dinesh did, and it was very, very smart, he hooked up with a guy named Michael Berry down from Texas. Very popular radio guy, not syndicated to some places, but I mean, in Texas, this guy is like #1. And so Michael Berry, what he did was he pounded away at his audience, come see this new film, come see this new film. So what they did was they launched the film without any major Hollywood distribution in one theater. And because the way that they measure theater success in a film, like #1 movie, #2 movie, Dinesh D'Souza packed out the theater time and time again at that one theater. So what happened was that the theater owners, my connection's weak, I'll go this way. Theater owners decided, hey, this thing is really good. I'm gonna put this movie in my theater. And that's how, because the ranking of how he ranked at #1, because in one theater every seat was always filled. So that's how they measure it, really. So what happened was that more theaters picked it up. He started doing that at radio stations, and so basically he bypassed Hollywood. But you can't do that. You can't do that all the time, because Obama, a movie about Obama, was an anomaly. That doesn't happen too often. So the fact is that all conservative films, really, conservative films can't get out. The message can't get out. An Obama movie is slid through. So many times, and this is why you see these colleges, think about this. You got these kids in colleges, they're being taught by liberal professors. In some cases, these people they're communists. I'm not kidding. Some of these professors will say, I believe in communism. So they're being taught by complete liberals who have a socialism sort of background, that's the belief system. I get it from my kids. My kids tell me, Dad, you'd light this place on fire if you saw what they were trying to teach us. So between that and then Hollywood, any movie you watch that isn't, some sci-fi movie, any movie that has a message of some kind, there will always be a liberal slant in there somewhere. They can't avoid it. They sneak it in. So when you look at Hollywood and you look at academia, that's why the majority of these kids, this is why they're out protesting. This is why they're out thinking that, it's bad to be a conservative. And that's why they have this whole liberal mindset. It's not until they get older till they realize the fact that, wait a second, I don't think this liberalism thing really works too well. By then, this is why we're always in so much trouble. So one of the things, I'm going to end on this. One of the things that we're going to try to accomplish with our new media platform, and I think it will start to trend this way. I think not just with us, I think it will start to trend in the sort of manner that I'm about to talk about. I think you're going to see Hollywood start to open its doors a bit, because Hollywood is losing. It continues to decline. Movies nowadays, if they're not animated, they're about shoot 'em up, do this, do that. People are getting turned off. They don't make good movies anymore. We talked about this one time already on the Walk and Talk. So I believe that there's going to be an opportunity for Dennis Lynch's and Dinesh D'Souza's and other filmmakers that maybe we don't know yet, haven't heard of. Maybe Scott Baio or Stephen Baldwin will start producing films. And there will be enough pressure to really make it so this way there are more of those sort of films going out there. And I do think that within time, that we will play a role in that, because one part of the media platform is we're going to start getting back into making really powerful documentaries. Things that would attract the attention of not just the older people my age, but also the millennials. And I think by inviting millennials to be a part of these films, which I will, it will make it will make an easier entrance for us to get into that. So I'm going to end. I went for a long time today. I had a lot to tell you. I wanted to share that story. Anyway, I really would appreciate if you guys could go help donate. I hate to talk about all this stuff and turn around one day next week and tell you, sorry, man, we didn't reach 250 and I got to get back to doing what I was doing. So if you can, you go to DennisMichaelLynch.com, donate. There's a button at the top, there's a button at the bottom, and you just give whatever you can. I keep on updating the website every hour, every 2 hours, let you know what it is, so you can go back there and you can always see where we're at. And, look, I walk every day, and I'll be seeing you again tomorrow, 11:40. The whole thing with Facebook and the fact that they're not putting me into your feed, it's not a personal thing. I'm not taking it personally. Although I did tell them, I sent them a message saying that I'm a Facebook stockholder and I'm selling my stock. Not because I'm taking it personally, but because when they do this sort of thing, they give me no reason to want to put my money into Facebook. And I think a lot of other businesses are going to see the same thing. It's okay, we're building our own platform, and eventually you'll just get a text message on your phone, hey, Dennis is live. And if they don't watch me on Facebook, you can watch me on YouTube. We'll figure it out. All right, either way, DennisMichaelLynch.com/donate. And I'm going to go to try find Miss Mary. Thanks so much, as always.